Now, we received a statement just within the last couple of hours from Michigan House Speaker Kevin Cotter. Cotter wrote, quote, "It is incredibly frustrating that we are learning about this situation from your investigation. Over the years, some have scratched the surface on this issue, but finally, after more than a decade, we have the full story." The worst,
like shaking you.
Newest,
You drive back and forth on that, yep.
road,
The whole truck was shaking.
driving it
Get you rattling pretty good running through there.
in an instant, from tip-top to terrible. This is the condition of M6.
When you drive it at 70, it doesn't look near as bad as when you get out and walk it.
The cracks are everywhere. Every 15 feet, the road's joints are spalling, busted, and nothing can be done other than patching.
Our goal is to try to look at those spots before they get bad and seal them up.
And we're talking about one of West Michigan's newest highways, finished in 2004?
If they're going to do it, why not do it right the first time?
Unfortunately, we found this is a buy one road for the price of two deal. And guess what? There's more. US 131 from 10 Mile Road to Cedar Springs, paved in 2001. It's also jacked up and will also need to be replaced at half its life as well. And believe it or not, our lawmakers had no clue about any of this until the WZZM 13 watchdogs gave them the information.
It's embarrassing to us. We have egg on our face, and we knew nothing about it.
Water is the enemy. Too much of it getting into concrete can impact long-term durability. When large amounts of water inside freeze, it expands the concrete and breaks the road up. To stop that from happening, DOT workers put a special powder in the mix called Vinsol resin. That chemical helps establish microscopic air bubbles or a foam in the concrete that gives it a place for water to go when freezing happens. The idea is pavers want to get good, well-dispersed little bubbles to keep most water out when the road freezes and thaws.
But all of a sudden, what used to work didn't.
In this 13 Watchdog investigation, it became quite clear MDOT in the 1990s didn't have contractors build roads the way they used to. We found the state in the mid-1990s started allowing the use of synthetic versions of Vinsol resin, changing the chemicals up a little bit, and what resulted from that could be the million-dollar mistake, that the synthetics in places weren't good enough to be able to keep water out, and that any highway built from the late 1990s to the mid-2000s could be prone to severe early damage, just like M6.
2004, 2005, we recognize there's something going on here, and there's something going on with our concrete pavements, selected concrete pavements. We're starting to show some deterioration at 10 years, less than 10 years, that we wouldn't see for 25 years.
We knew we needed to deal with it.
The belief is the synthetic chemical changes could be the primary cause of M6 and US 131's early death.
Synthetics were playing some. They were suspect. They weren't. We suspect they weren't quite as stable.
The instability of the synthetic chemical then perhaps created a secondary issue that diseased the road, ASR, a reaction of some of the cement and sand. This is what ASR does to concrete. In addition, MDOT's concrete expert Dave Staten also told us MDOT didn't always use fortifying supplementary cementing materials in the 90s and 2000s to increase the concrete strength, something that's mandated today. Add in potential drainage problems and the use of de-icers on roads. Put it all together, MDOT and its contractors admit the situation is one big mess. I guess, what do you say to taxpayers who say, you guys really messed up?
I would say you have a right to be upset. I'm upset because I'm a taxpayer, you're a taxpayer. I'm a member of the motoring public, and you are too, and as everyone else is. The DOT is not happy about it.
What do you say to critics who say this was just a big, big mistake?
I would say that nobody is pleased with that outcome. I will also say that nobody intentionally went out and did things, cut corners, did things that they thought would save them a buck or two
But did MDOT and its contractors cut corners? Our investigation took a turn when we started asking questions of the company Panova out of Georgia that exclusively makes the original Vinsol resin. That's, of course, that chemical MDOT had used successfully for years. A company leader at Panova told us the synthetic version of their chemical produced by other companies is cheaper than their product, and their belief is that DOTs and contractors across the country started using the synthetics to save money. MDOT's leaders contend it wasn't a money issue, rather a supply issue of Vinsol resin.
We have no, I guess, no opinion on what's the shortage and where things are going. It's the industry that would dictate that. So
why even switch? I mean, why even allow that to happen? Why not say, look, we've done it well for 30 years. Let's not change a good thing.
That would be difficult to do because it's a supply issue.
The 13 Watchdog team hasn't independently been able to confirm any kind of shortage of that product, and Panova's leaders dispute there was ever any shortage of it. Ultimately, experts at MDOT say the lifespan of a highway should be 25 to 30 years before major rehab. US 131 from Wealthy to 28th Street in Grand Rapids has lasted 60 years. That's why some lawmakers are already asking for an investigation into what happened here. Many, including Representative Tom Hooker, who has M6 in his district, had no clue about Vinsol resin.
And now to find out that it was improperly done, MDOT should have let us know, if nobody else, so we can inform our constituents, you know, what went wrong.
Those constituents are mad.
They don't do it right the first time. And they're wasting my tax dollars.
The belief they simply don't mix it like they used to. This is embarrassing, isn't it?
It is a terrible thing. Yeah, it's not a good thing. It's not something we expect. We have to figure this out.
Have to figure this out. Well, many of the roads in question in this investigation have short warranties of anywhere between 4 to 7 years that would not apply now for the roads built in that era. Leaders at MDOT said definitively, they believe they have the testing standards and materials in place now to prevent this from happening again. That, of course, remains to be seen. $55 million, guys. $55 million just for the 2 roads here in Kent County. We don't know what the cost is going to be for all the other roads outside of West Michigan, probably in the 9 figures.
It's a lot of money. So what about the cost to drivers to repair their cars? I know I've been around.
Yes.
I hit a big old pothole on 131.
You know, we were up there today live on Facebook going down just right around Cedar Springs, and we were just getting pelted with rocks. I mean, you could feel the rocks hitting our vehicle aside from the road condition, which is just awful on US 131. And that's the reason why they're going to try to replace these roads quickly here just within the next 2 years.
All right.